Hey guys, it's Sir Plots-A-Lot here with another My Hero Academia What If video, and today we're going to be doing What If Deku was Iron Man Part 6. So let's get started. In the last part, Deku managed to beat Bakugo by a small bit, I think it was about 100 meters, in the ball throw test by Aizawa, and Mineta was expelled. So 1A begins their second lesson now. All Might's combat training exercise. They round up and All Might explains to everyone how the exercise works and the victory conditions before pulling aside Bakugo for what everyone but Deku thinks will be a talking to about his rash nature. Deku knows better, however, and gets himself ready. The matchups remain similar besides Mineta's team, who have to wait for Mineta to return to class. That's right, I retcon Mineta being expelled, and what? Animes, they do retcons all the time, mangas especially. You know what, we're gonna retcon that and just make it easier for the storyline by keeping Mineta. Let's say he does the whole like kinda psych you got pranked thing that he did with Deku kinda, so you know, let's bring him back. I like him to some extent. He's a perv, but you know, I mean, he's part of the story, we might as well keep him. So Deku walks into the building with Ochako and starts instructing her. Walk to the left and up the stairs. Keep going until you reach the second floor. Everyone watches as Deku burns a hole into the top of the roof and simply flies up multiple times before stopping abruptly. He turns to the left and sees Bakugo, who also sees him, standing there alone and staring directly at him. His mouth now twisted into a sinister smile as he charges towards Deku with explosions erupting from the back of his palms. Deku simply disables his propulsors for a second, falling to the second floor where Uraraka is just climbing the stairs before shouting "Now!". Deku flies towards Uraraka, Bakugo still coming towards the hole, and before she has time to ask, Deku shouts "Touch my shoulder". Deku's intense concentration on the unfolding battle distracts him from what he just said, and after receiving Uraraka's weightlessness, Bakugo jumps down the hole and yells, "Are you gonna keep running, Deku, or are we going to fight?" Deku activates his jet propulsors and flies towards Bakugo, all of the power used to levitate him now being used to simply thrust him forwards. Bakugo steps forward with a one-for-all powered right hook, but at the last second, Deku slams the brakes. Deku yells, "Not today, Kachan. We're not fighting, because you've already lost," as he grabs Bakugo by the arm. His insane reaction speed, coupled with the speed of the new suit, allowing him to grab him by the arm and slamming him straight into the ground. As he slams him into the ground, a resounding smash happens, his body careening through multiple floors until reaching the ground and leaving a crater with Bakugo in there, unconscious. Uraraka reaches the top floor and hears Ida practicing his menacing villain act, but Uraraka jumps out into the open, distracting him, surprising Tenya but still warranting a rapid response with his engines activating, running towards Uraraka's location in a fraction of a second. As he's distracted, Deku slams through the roof, touching the bomb and leading to a victory for Deku's team with relative ease. The rest of the mock battles progress in a similar way to the original series, with All Might congratulating them all on a stellar performance and staying behind with Bakugo after class to discuss his performance and for some extra training. "Isn't it a bit weird that he's picking favourites already?" remarks Uraraka to Deku, catching the attention of the rest of the class with the remark. It's probably just because their quirks are so similar, yeah, that's why, retorts Deku nervously. The gazes of his new peers feeling like they're tearing into his timid soul as they all look for answers as to this weird behaviour, which Deku can't give. Bakugo gives an annoyed glance back to everyone hearing the conversation, causing them to walk away quicker and quickly drop the subject. Deku heads to his final class for the day, Support Items 101. As soon as he walks through the door, he's greeted by an interesting scene. A girl with cross-haired eyes is testing her new invention, as far as he can tell. And everyone, including the teacher, has their undivided attention and their eyes on her. Deku sits down and decides to watch for a moment rather than interrupting the display. The eccentric girl exclaims, "First test of my new baby commencing in 3, 2, 1, before pressing a button on a handheld remote. A big old device with a red button that seems a bit much for Deku. Suddenly, a silverish liquid envelops the girl's arm and quickly solidifies into a metal gauntlet. "Ta-da!" she yells enthusiastically. warranting a round of applause from everyone around, Deku included. Deku then steps up to the front and introduces himself. Sorry to intrude, my name's Izuku Midoriya. I'm the student from the 1A class who'll be attending some support class sessions. It's nice to meet you all, with a polite bow at the end. The strange girl instantly runs up to him and introduces herself. Oh my, it's really him. I'm Mei Hatsume, and this is my baby, before shoving the metal gauntlet right into his face. Deku, feeling flustered, accidentally trips backwards. Deku's head nearly hits the ground before he just stops falling. Deku opens his eyes to see Mei's metal gauntlet stretching around his back to catch him. Pretty cool, isn't it? My babies are all the best, she says. Deku's amazed. A gauntlet that can both deploy almost instantly and can stretch? Do you mind if I take a look at the schematics for that? Asks Deku. Sure, can I look at some of yours? Asks Mei in return, her eyes brimming with excitement. Sure, responds Deku with a smile. He's happy to learn stuff from her, and he's happy that she's interested in his designs as well. It's rare that people outside of big support companies or the teachers actually ever care, so it's a nice bit of attention for Deku, someone who actually cares about his interests. They go ahead and sit down. The next lesson for Deku and Mei consists of a note comparison, basically, and a critique. Initial blueprints had been covered in amendments to both the design and the components within. They both have some qualms with each other's designs, and they go ahead and try and improve upon them. Deku does a lot of improvements to Mei's design, and Deku also takes some inspiration from the metallic deployment method, this liquidy deployment method, because it seems to be much quicker than the deployment method he's using currently with the backpack. Deku takes off his backpack and puts it on the table in front of Mei and says, "This is the Iron Man suit Mark III. Mei is losing it. Oh my god, is it? Can I touch it? Can I touch your baby?" Deku's caught a bit off guard. Yeah, sure, just don't mess with it too much. But before he can say anything, she jams her finger into the button on the back, deploying her body into the Iron Man suit. It takes a small while to get it off, but eventually Deku manages to convince her. He is kind of shocked. This isn't how he expected the support class to be at all. He just expected to sit down and do his own thing while, the other people were learning about support items, maybe helping out sometimes, but he was being challenged almost. He was kind of learning things from Mei. It was quite interesting for him, since a lot of the times, a lot of the ideas that he had were very quick because of his logical, analytical computer mind. It's easy for him to learn things, and it's easy for him to come up with these sorts of logical deductions and ideas, but Mei's crazy, almost illogical thinking was a breath of fresh air to some extent, because it provided a much needed contrast to Deku's own straight line thinking. She would curve the ball to some extent and come out with things completely from left field, things that Deku wouldn't have thought of because they just didn't seem to make sense until peered into more in depth or having some amendments made. And that is Mei's strength in Deku's eyes. She's creative. That's something Deku can do to some extent, but not the best. His computer doesn't aid his creativity. That's not a thing it's there for. It can help him do calculations, and it can help him model. It can even help him learn, but it can't teach him creativity. That's something he's not got that well. Not in this timeline, at least. He's going ahead, and he's starting to leave, but Mei asks a question just as he's about to leave the classroom. Let's do this again sometime, yeah? Blushing fiercely, Deku nods before running out of the classroom as fast as possible and back home to implement the changes to his design that had been suggested. Again, taking the metallic liquidy technology deployment method that he'd learnt off Mei, and also some original ideas that him and Mei had formulated together. Mei had a similar experience, learning some things from Deku, and also him being able to refine some of her ideas into a more functional version. And by the end, actually having improved her metal gauntlet design a considerable amount, deploying faster and stretching further with stronger strength, and a strength increase for the user who was wearing the gauntlet, which in Mei's eyes makes her baby all the better. That concludes it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It wasn't that action-packed, but it was more of a kind of world building episode where we kind of introduce Deku and how he's interacting with Mei and the other people in the support class, and also how All Might's going to interact with Bakugo now that he's got, you know, his old body back. He doesn't have to hide all the time anymore. He doesn't have his time limit really anymore. So it's a lot more interesting in the sense that he doesn't really have to worry about that. He doesn't have to worry about whether he can come into class because, you know, he did too much hero work or anything, which is going to play a major role in the story. So we'll find out how next time, but for now, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. If you liked the video, you know, didn't like it, try and, you know, let me know in the comments by leaving like constructive criticism or something, or leaving a dislike. If you want to see more videos, subscribe, share the video with friends, turn on the little bell notification thing if you want to know whenever I upload. It's, you know, great. You get told like pretty much the second I upload, so, you know, you can comment 13th or whatever in the comments, like, you know, however much fun you guys want to have with it, go for it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, bye guys.